Hey guys, welcome to my channel, The Heart of David. Hope you guys are doing well today. I have a couple things I want to discuss, and one is the evil that we see right now, and the other, which is really important, which is really the main reason why I want to do this video. And pardon me, if it's possible, I get a knock at the door, I have to stop the video. But I hope that doesn't happen. Having someone to check an appliance, so the mark of the beast. And the tribulation. Why do I want to talk about this? Why do I want to talk about the mark of the beast? And obviously about the tribulation. And before I get into that, I'm just gonna share with you just some of the things that I see happening right now. And I was watching a video yesterday, and it was a bus. You look this up. It was a bus in Portugal, and there's a video camera within the bus, you know, right where the driver is, right where they open up their doors. And so it shows the bus driving, and it's pulling up to a stop, and you know, it's the view looking at the door. And as he's pulling up, you see a big crowd of people, like an unusually large crowd of people waiting for the bus. I'm like, what is this? You know, why are so many people waiting for the bus in one place? Is it usually like that? Probably not. It just looked unusual. There's some places that are very busy. You know, I don't know, like downtown Toronto, New York City, I don't know. But I still don't think it's really like that. But in any case, I do recommend you just go take a look at this video. And when he opens the doors, people are, it's like Walmart on, you know, like clearance sale on Christmas in the United States, where they'll go, okay, the doors are open, you know, you guys have waited whatever amount of hours, and then they all rush in at once. They're pushing and they're climbing over each other. This was like that, but there was an older woman who was caught in the doors, and like a guy was like pushing, and like her face, I think from what I remember, she was like, her face was getting hit against the door, and people were not good to each other. And I just looked in the comments section, and they're like, this is on purpose. This is on purpose. This isn't supposed to happen. I don't want to keep you guys low, okay? But I know what I see. I was scanning down those, and I can see it happening in every single Western country. I wish I knew where to find this video now. It was a woman who was saying, it was a Canadian woman, and she was saying, you guys don't even see this. It's the analogy of the theory of the you know, the slow boiling frog. So if you put a frog in here, right? Put a frog in here, and if it's, you know, if it's 100 Celsius, he'll jump out immediately, right? But if you put it and you raise it ever so slowly, they don't get out. They're being slowly cooked. And the temperature is changed just so slowly that they don't jump out. That's exactly the analogy of what is happening to us right now. It began in earnest in its real phases. You could arguably say it was before this. You could arguably say And if someone comes to the door because they are supposed to come, follow my next video, okay? If that happens, I pray it doesn't. That is what's happening. There was a very intelligent woman who I listened to last night, and I'm like, wow, you have this right nailed on the head. She said that very analogy, but she used this comparison that yes, that's exactly what is happening to us. This is called Marxism. This is what, like, J. Edgar Hoover, you see, I recommend you go watch the movie J. Edgar. At the beginning, Leonardo DiCaprio plays J. Edgar Hoover, and don't turn it away because he's trans, okay? It just happens to be. Because I know people are fed up with, you know, the LGBTQ stuff. I get it. You know, with that stuff, it's just they're just pushing it on us, and they're doing it on purpose. All of these different things, they're throwing at us at once on purpose. This is what they do with cultural Marxism. So in the beginning, this is a really good movie. And I think it was, what's his name? Clint Eastwood who directed this. I believe he did. He does good movies. So this is a true story of, it was J. Edgar Hoover who really revamped and created the FBI. And they were fighting, you know, that was his beginning. It was in like the late, 1900 and, like 19, and in the 20s, there were Russian spies all throughout North America, and they were trying to, I don't know what the word is, subjugate, they were trying to exterminate us, our culture. They were using letter bombs all over the place. They were trying to switch. Bottom line, J. Edgar Hoover, he created the FBI to fight these men. And he stopped it. He stopped it. It was an evil that had to be pushed out of the land. But today it's coming back with force. And it's because of Russia. That's where it is. And it's from China too. But it's Russia who did this. And you're going to say Ephesians, right? We don't fight against flesh and blood, but against principalities and rulers in the darkness of this age and wickedness in high places. I get it. But, don't discount the people who are responsible for implementing this. What is their end game anyways? Their end game is to control. But now they have different methods. So the people who are at the top probably don't actually believe in Marxism. It's just a means to an end for them to control you and for them to have the power. So 1984 is coming. I'm going to talk about something that's so truly intimate to me and why, it's basically why I'm making this video. So there's my first thing. There's a lot of evil on the earth. And so what you're seeing in all the propaganda everywhere you look, like Jesus told us, don't be deceived. It's Marxism. That's what it is. They want to control us. And so that's why I refer you to watch J. Edgar. That will explain everything. I mean, you think of the McCarthy years, if you know that. There was a guy in government in the States who they called it the McCarthy year witch hunts, which I would have to reread them, but they would accuse people of being communists and stuff like that, and people would suffer for that. But you know what? I know I'm like, listen, I'm a born again Christian, but I'll tell you what I'm feeling in my own soul. And a conversation I have with God more than once. Do I just shut off all media? Do I just worship you? Is that what, or do we actually say something? What is our responsibility? Is it our responsibility to fight back against these things? And I think the answer is yes. And I think that's where people get really confused about what we should do. So when you see drag queens reading to children, who some of them have criminal records for abuse, these are your kids, man. If I had kids and they were doing that, it'd be a whole different story. Of course I would go and say something. You know, I'm not very good at letting people push things on me. I'm just not. But anyways, give me a second here, guys. So all this stuff is here. And, you know, when I think of the scriptures and the Psalms, you know, the kings have stuck up their head. You know, although it may not be a fulfillment of now, this very second, and it may be rather a war against Israel or something like that. I think it applies as well to this. And I think you understand what I mean. These wicked, evil tech giants are all vying for, did I say the right word there? For power, for wealth. And it's not even really the money, it's the power that they get from this. To fight for the best technology to monitor you. Not just that, other things too. You know, they're making other things that can help our health and just really cool gadgets and stuff like that. But the kings of the earth themselves and the other kings, which are the tech giants, who have more power than them, right? Because they pay to do certain things. They wield a lot more power than a politician does. Just give me a second to take a sip. But there's just so much evil on the earth. And so do we say something, or do we just worship, or do we do both? I don't know how much stuff you're watching, but it's impossible to miss this stuff. Just here, there's aliens here, there's 3 Atlas over there, whatever, you know, the 3 Atlas is sending a message to us. There's earthquakes going off. There's never been volcanoes like there ever has been. The frequency of the earth is like 10 times higher than the regular that it usually is. I just saw that today. So it's usually at frequency of 5. I don't know if it's, I forget what the measurement is, and it's rather 50 right now. Just give me a sec. So there it is. You see all the evil on the earth, and that's what I want to talk about. I don't want to dwell upon it too much. And I know we're supposed to work through these things, and I understand that. It's just like, do you see? Their lies are so easy to unpack. Why are there so many distractions? It's communism. They're trying to confuse us. And it's not like it was then, it's just communism. This is the end. The Antichrist is here. Donald Trump and Elon Musk. So I'll talk about something very intimate to me. Just give me a sec. And intimate to you guys too, I'm sure. Pre-tribbers still think there's going to be some magic solution for them. I've been preparing, to buy, imperishable foods, like rice and stuff like that. But something changed in me just in the last while. And that was watching Keir Starmer say that they're coming out with a digital ID. Now, I know that, was it that? Or was it universal basic income? No, I think it was a digital ID. I was pretty sure that Canada was certainly one of the top, but it was all the G7, not G7, probably G20. Anyways, a lot of different countries are pretty close to implementing digital ID. They've done their pilot projects. That's what I meant to say. Their pilot projects are long done. Probably a couple of years ago. And so when Keir Starmer said that, and there was a lot of pushback and 2.5 million signatures or whatever, man, whatever amount of pushback, people think that, there's my voice disorder. Give me a second. So he came out and said that, okay? He came out and said, we're going to implement the digital ID. We're going to force it upon you, free of charge, though, right? Thank you. The problem isn't that. They could just stop all those boats. They've been doing that for a long time. So, the Hegelian dialect, problem, solution, implementation, that's what this is. And even though it looks like there is pushback, they're telling us out loud what they're going to do. And for those who don't believe in God, they think that they're going to be able to push back, and maybe there will be some good pushback, right? Right? It's not something that's going to immediately happen. And I hope they do. And when, this is what set me off, because Canada, that itself, I was really listening, but he was meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister. These guys are with the WEF. We know this. Justin Trudeau wrecked Canada in 10 years. It took him 10 years. They lied, they gaslighted every single day in Parliament. I watched many of those parliamentary sessions. They just stonewalled the conservatives, real conservatives, not like ones down in the States, not like that, like real conservatives. And this is what they do. They just lie and they lie and they lie. They spend more. This is what they do. So when asked Mark Carney, what are you going to implement this as well? He said, not at this time. He didn't say, no, we're not going to do that. No, not at this time. So I just imagine this, that probably a world war will happen probably within 1 month. Sure looks that way. They're rushing troops to the Poland border. Can you remember the Ukraine war? Special operation? We're just doing an exercise there. All those drone incursions in many different countries. How do I know Putin was doing that on purpose? Because the drones were not filled with weapons and they had extra fuel tanks on them. So it was on purpose. So if there's a world war, who knows what happened to the stock market? Let's just say it's implemented. This is the part I want to get to that's very intimate to me. How do I say this? I suffer with a lot of pain, and I don't really like to talk about it. When I'm on this video, I have to oftentimes I describe to you that I'm uncomfortable, because I am. It's very tough for me to stand in this picture. I don't even know how to tell you how tough it is. I have multiple intractable pain disorders, and the medications that I take, this is really intimate to me. The medications that I take, anyways, look, they're looking to they're looking to implement what's in China, the social credit score system. So when you say things on the internet, they can come to your door like they are in the UK right now. Go say something if you're in the UK. They'll come to your door at 2 in the morning. They will, I just saw. Thought Police, Minority Report. Without these medications, I would probably have a heart attack. I could not walk. I could probably still stand up, but I'd burn out very, very quick. When I heard those things, the digital ID coming out, and although I know that Neuralink, I understand who Donald Trump and Elon Musk are. They're the N2 prophets. They're the two beasts. The beast and the false prophet. Makes fire come down to heaven, does miracles. And you know about Trump. So it's close. So every man, woman, child shall receive a mark. And the pre-tribbers thought they would not ever see this day. And I told them to prepare, and they called me a deceiver and all these different types of things, which is not even true. I'm just trying to think of your better good. I know that Seal 6 says when wrath comes from God. So that gives me a marker to know when. So I know there's going to be a war, a big earthquake. I know there's going to be probably a lot of war and death and famine. And you can see we're right on the precipice of that. There's no debate. Go look around online. Trump and Putin are now exchanging nuclear threats. Trump gave one yesterday. So what do I do? So say something's implemented. What do I do? How do I fight this? I can't fight it. I'd burn out in less than 1 week. It's too bad because I will never take that mark, no matter what. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. I don't know. What would I do? I had silver at one point, and I thought maybe I'll use that, right? God put me in a place where I feel like I want to live. And I didn't feel that way. I wanted to go to assisted death because of the severity of my pain. I had the worst pain, if you've seen me for the first time, I have the worst pain disorders there are. And there's just too many of them. And although I've found a life with those pain medications, and I've learned to work out, eat healthy, and do all those things, just one missed dose of medication, which happens about once a week to me, where I've got too much on my mind and I go to eat a meal to take my pain meds, let it kick in, eat, and then go on a walk, go out, go work, go whatever. I miss one of those, and I know there's something wrong very quickly. I can't walk the same. I'm like, something's really wrong, and then I forget, look down, look into my pocket, I forgot to take it. So if I suddenly couldn't have them, I've just come to the conclusion that I would stop drinking water. That's what I would do, because I would never put myself in a position of, there's nothing I could do, and I would never take that mark. That's very personal to me. So when I hear of this, and I know I've been saying the mark is Neuralink, because how am I supposed to think otherwise? I already know who these two people are. What's the chance that Musk is associated with Neuralink, that in the gematria equals 666? But I keep my mind open, and could it be just something like a digital ID? I have to keep my mind open to that, and I know God will never let me take that mark anyways. If we are here on earth and have to take that mark, we have to know to refuse it. And it's unfortunate in my case that I would have to stop drinking water. There's no other way for me. And that's why I've asked God, what do I do? And I'll end by saying this. I don't want to make this all bad. We see the end approaching. I'm not trying, this is probably not your case. But it is in my case. I don't really talk about this, but I'll just say this briefly. Around 2013, 14, and 15, but it began before then. Because of a severe injury in my abdomen, if you know my story, I developed a syndrome, an intractable syndrome in my abdomen, among others, like kidney stones now, and what that Moderna did to me, a permanent gallbladder disorder, equal to a gallstone. I got a bad abdomen. So, at one point I had the pain suicide disease, full body. That was my first pain disorder. Could never find an answer. I was in so much pain. Then I got the abdomen. And then I got my spinal adhesive arachnoiditis in my spine, which is also called the devil's disease, a nickname, the disease of no hope. And I was caught in a space where I could not walk anymore, and I couldn't eat anymore, because every time I went to eat, if I would have had this colic medication, but I didn't know what I had. The colic was so bad that I felt like vomiting, nausea, pain through my back, up my rib. I couldn't even eat anymore. And I got to the point where I starved myself. Not because I wanted to, because everything made me very, very sick. It was just like a round after round of colic. I was so tired, I couldn't sleep more than 2 hours a day. So I know what it's like to starve fully. So like 200 calories a day, that's it. And for 3 years, I drank at most 1 cup of this. Both of those together. So I know what it's like to be in that state. All these things come to my mind, and no, I'm not fearing. It's not about that. I just want to talk about my own situation and things that I face and things that I've been through. If it comes to it, giving up my water, I don't know what God thinks about that, because there is no other thing I could do. Because if I take that mark, you can't turn back. My question is, what is the mark? Right? So, digital ID, Neuralink, digital ID, I don't know. I go more with Neuralink, but when something like this comes out, what do I do, Lord? What do I do? I'll just finish like that. Maybe some of you guys are sick, and maybe some of you guys are going through the same type of thing. It's just the nature of my pains and its totality would destroy me. And I wouldn't want that to last for a long time, if you know what I mean. I don't believe in giving up, but there are no altars when it comes to if that is the mark.